How's it going, guys? In this video we're gonna look at 5 tips for music producers. There's no real structure to it, it's just 5 things that we think are useful to know. So if you find it helpful, let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe. How's it going, guys? So tip number 1 is about gain staging in Ableton and what to look out for, and just things to do and to not do. So basically this is like a mix down project of a remix that we did for Tommy and Kesh. So I'll basically try and show you an example of what I mean. So we'll use the kick because I think it's going to be the easiest to show you to get it to clip. So we take this kick. So you see these little kind of bars that are showing you the volume levels. So let's say that we start adding some stuff. Obviously, like this is for any channel, it's not just the kick. I'm just doing it on the kick just because it'll be easy to make it clip. But like, let's say that you started doing like loads of stuff, you're adding loads of different effects and stuff to your channels. Oh, this is going to be quite hard. Oh, there you go. So it's getting it there now. So obviously, like, this is like a really extreme example, and you would never do an EQ like that. But can you see how that's gone red there now? So now, whatever we put on after that, like, we're going to be sending in a clipped signal into that plugin. So let's say it was a vocal or like something, you put loads of processing on it, you've got like EQs, exciters, compressors, and you just got loads of stuff going on that's adding up. Like, basically there'll become a point where the signal itself is getting clipped, and it won't always show you in the channel. So like, let's say that we've got this turned down, it's not always going to show you that it's clipping. So yeah, keep an eye out on each kind of plugin that you're adding and making sure that the signal that's coming out isn't clipping. And if it is, then basically you've got too much. So let's put that back to there. So yeah, it's all pretty good coming out of this one. So it's this one that's doing it. So the way I would do it is basically put a utility before that one and then just bring the volume down. So yeah, basically the effects are still all the same, but you've got less volume going into this one. So then you can still do whatever effect it was you were trying to do there without clipping the signal coming out. So yeah, like, that is how to keep an eye on your kind of the gain on your channel as you go along. And then along with that tip as well, is about the master. So you don't ever, so like, just like basically rule 101, just always leave that, just don't touch that. So obviously, like, if you need to reduce your volume, if you start clipping on the master, then basically just select all your channels and pull all your channels down. Like, if your channels start adding up and you start clipping here and then you turn that down, like, that's not what you want to do. So yeah, that's tip number 1. So the next tip is about auto fades. So basically, in your settings, on this little tab here, record, warp and launch, this little create fades on clip edge, if that's turned on, basically you're going to get a little fade that comes before the kick. So if I remove this kick now, let's say we wanted to, you know what I mean, we're coming towards a break or something, and we just want to take a kick out, then this first kick here is going to miss. It's basically the transient, like the very first part of the kick, if you've got like a clicky kick, which to be fair, this one isn't, then you're going to lose it. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. So obviously what you could do is just go through each time that you've made a clip, just go back and take it off. But what I do just for the sake of ease is just turn that off. But then, yeah, you just need to listen out for clicks, because it's not going to create a fade at the edge of every clip. So when you're chopping up your vocals and stuff like that, like, you might get clicks and you might have to add the fades in yourself. But yeah, generally, obviously, like, you don't want to be losing the start of your kicks. So the next one is when you've got an effect on a channel. So let's take this vocal here. So obviously you've got your send and return effects there. So when you want to send reverb and stuff, you send it through that. But sometimes you might want to add something onto the channel. So let's say that we were doing this. And we wanted to kind of turn the reverb up. Basically, what you'll start getting is you'll start losing the actual sound itself. What I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to use a different sound for it. I'm going to use it on this conga. So basically, when you start getting to 50%, you start losing the dry signal. The dry signal starts getting a little bit quieter. So if you've ever, thought that maybe you wanted to keep that dry signal in, basically, if you right-click and group it, it'll group it into an instrument rack. And then what you do from there is you duplicate that. So now you've got basically two versions of the same thing. So that top one, we can just rename it dry signal. And then we can delete the reverb off that one, because we don't need the reverb, we just want it to be dry. So that's that top one. And then this bottom one is where the reverb is. So we can turn that reverb now to 100% wet, so that we're not getting any dry signal at all, it's just wet. So change that one to wet signal. So now your dry signal can stay in all the time, and you can just mix your wet signal in as a volume. So I don't want to go that high, obviously, but so you'll basically keep the kind of integrity of the original sound in there without losing it to the reverb. You can do it with pretty much any effect, really, with delays and stuff like that. If you're doing like a similar kind of thing with a build up in a like coming towards a drop or whatever, and you wanted the dry wet to kind of come up in the channel, but you don't want to lose the original sound, then this is kind of the way to do it. If you're not going to use send and returns, then this is the way to keep your original sound still coming through. Next little tip is reverb freezes. So like, this is something that we use in pretty much every break, just because it gives you, this is probably one, to be fair. No, that's not. What's that? No, it's not either. So yeah, we haven't actually used it in this track, but because there's like a lot of elements to work with anyway. But in a break, if you haven't got that much going on, sometimes it could sound pretty bare. So what we like to do, so what you can do is create a channel, and then what you want to do is set the channel of this, the input, to be the channel that you want there. So I know it's that 2851. So 2850. So now this channel here is going to take its audio input from that channel there. So yeah, this channel's sending its audio to this one, and then this top channel here, we can stick a reverb on, and then put the decay time quite long. Could even put the dry wet up a lot so it's really wet. And then if you arm this channel and then you click record, and then as it's recording, if you press freeze, so once there's quite a lot of reverb there, if you click freeze, it's basically going to record the frozen reverb there for you. You don't need too much, to be fair. I can delete that now. So now we turn that off, so it's not taking the input anymore, it's just its own channel. What we've got there now is just find a nice section to loop it. Try that. So yeah, that works alright. It's got a bit of a click. Let's find a different bit. Yeah, that's fine. So now you've got like reverb for as long as you want it. And then yeah, what we do with that a lot of the time is like use it as a bit of a riser. So you can put an auto filter on there. So now, like after this, now after that's happened, you've got this little kind of effect that can just fill up some space for you. But because it's a reverb of that sound there, and like you can keep it on for as long as you want it, yeah, it's quite handy for like build-ups and stuff. Because yeah, you can just fill up some space and it lasts forever basically. So yeah, like you maybe automate that, so automate that to come up as the build-up's coming on. You could even automate going up as well if you wanted it to kind of filter up. So yeah, that's reverb freezes anyway. It's, yeah, give it a go, it's quite handy. Okay, so this last one is basically like a little build-up effect. I'm going to bring up basically this project that I'm in now is the original project. So yeah, we start off the project and we make it in one, and then we mix down in the other. So the mix down section, I actually changed this build-up part, but I can't actually find that project anymore. So I'm basically going to show you again kind of how I did it. So I'll just play that build-up now just so you can hear what it sounds like. So yeah, basically the way that that kind of delay time thing happens is with this sound here. I'll just show you that actually, because that would be, so basically this sound is just two chords playing, but it's got a bit of a pitch bend on it. So yeah, it's pretty much like simple two chords just stabbing, but like that little pitch bend just keeps it a little bit more interesting. So yeah, basically, I'm obviously not going to be able to get it bang on now, but if we duplicate, well, it's another little tip I'm going to add in actually. Whenever you're doing anything, if you've got a channel already it sounds all right, and you think, oh, I want to change something about that, just duplicate it and then keep the original, because the amount of times that I've thought, oh, I think I can make that a bit better, and then you mess about with it, and then you wish that you could get back to the original and you can't. So yeah, that's an added little bonus tip, is just whatever you're gonna do to change what you've already done, just duplicate that channel, and just keep the original, like for the time being, until you've decided which one you prefer the most. So yeah, on this new one now, so what we basically need to do is take off, I think it was that one that I used. So yeah, this would have been how I did it in the actual track. So I think that was the sound I used, and then we need that sound to be a little bit longer. So let's consolidate that, Command J to consolidate it. And then, so if we create a simpler, or a MIDI channel even, and then just drag that in. So we want loop to be on. So now when I press it, it's basically gonna just loop that round and round. So if we put in just a note that just lasts for the duration that we want this effect to happen for, it's going to do that at the minute. But then on this, not that one, loop length. So this loop length, obviously if you've got a controller or you've got anything that you can map the MIDI to, it's a lot more fun. Like we've got a push, so just use that to do it. But if you haven't got that, you can just do it with the pencil tool. But obviously I would probably recommend mapping it to something if you can. And then yeah, so that length there, let's say that it was just going to do that. Let's see what. So it probably needs to start a bit quicker. Okay, so like that's pretty much what the track goes like. Obviously, like it's not bang on because it's only taking me 2 seconds to do, but yeah, obviously it had a filter on it as well, to be fair. So filter, so started off really low, and then it kind of comes up. So it's not bang on, but obviously like you get the gist. So yeah, that's the kind of time delay trick, if you like. Hopefully you found some of these tips helpful. If you did, let us know in the comments. And yeah, if you've got any other questions, just drop us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Cheers, guys.